Quick audio check while this is going live. Quick audio check while this is going live. Hello, hello, hello. I'm panicking because the Panthers, they have a chance to make the playoffs today, of course. You're on the Calling Stove Network. This is Curtis Callings joining you for a little pregame Panthers stream. And wow, am I excited for this one, as this is what we've been waiting for all season. Week 18, and it's already here. I can't believe it. This season has flown by with all the wins and the losses, and then the wins and the losses, and in subsequent fashion. It's been a very fun season. It's been a very scary season, and this is really going to be an introduction to the playoffs, hopefully for us, or it's going to be a little slap in the face and a little bit of a humbling game here for a very, very young team, and a team that is still getting to know each other. I mean, this is a team that no one saw coming this far, and so we'll get into that as we have a couple minutes here. We'll take 30 some odd minutes to talk about the Panthers and give a little 15 minutes to go prepare for the game where I'm going to be going to watch that with my family. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time, and we'll just jump right into this here. Of course, you're watching on the Calling Stow Network. Make sure that you tune in. Most of the time, we're going to be talking things Toronto sports. That's Maple Leafs, that's Raptors, and that's Blue Jays. But, of course, I'm a big Carolina Panthers fan. Of course, Nolan Thode, the other half of the channel here, he's a big Bills guy, so sometimes we might be able to get him on to talk. But regardless, we'll jump right into it here with my history as a Panthers fan because, of course, Toronto sports, and that's what CTN is kind of all, been about for me and my half. But how does one become a Panther fan all the way here? Of course, you could reckon I'm from Toronto. So how do I become a Panthers fan? Well, that's, again, Nolan. He created a little questionnaire, and every single thing I clicked, it came up Panther, and so decided I was going to be a fan of the team. And that was back in 2021. The first year I was a Panther fan was Sam Darnold's first season when he went 3-0 to start the year. And I distinctly remember it was that game against the Dallas Cowboys when I almost bought a Sam Darnold jersey. I thought he was going to be the future of the team. It was my freshman year of college. Should have been a great time. Sadly, that did not pan out as we lost to him last week. But we, pushed on. That season became tougher later on. And then the next year we brought in Baker Mayfield, who we're about to face this week. And I don't like Baker as much, as my time with Sam Darnold was a lot more fun than my time with Baker Mayfield as a Panther fan. But I've seen mostly the downs of the Carolina Panthers. Again, the Sam Darnold, the Baker Mayfield. I watched Kyle Allen for a bit. I think that was before Sam Darnold. I watched PJ Walker, of course. Cam Newton came back randomly. And then, of course, Bryce Young, who, of course, we are rocking the Bryce Young today for the game as we believe in our quarterback. We always believe in our quarterback. Of course, that 54 passing yard game, not the greatest, but we will jump into that later as we do a little game preview, and maybe I give you my prediction for this game. So, as we talk about the Panthers and my history with them, you could see why I'm so excited for this game, as my history with them has been nothing but the worst of the worst. I mean, I watched Bryce Young's rookie season. I watched his second season. And in those first two games for Bryce Young in that 2024 season, those hurt. I will not lie to you. That was not a fun time. But the end of that season made me fully convinced that this guy could win MVP. And I might get roasted for that. But one day, if he does, I'm going to feel like a genius. So I'm going to keep on cheering. I know a lot of people aren't as high on Bryce as I am, but I mean, given what I've seen from quarterback on this team, I'll take him over the alternative. So there's a brief history about my time with the Panthers. Of course, this year I've been all in. I've never followed a team quite as much as I have with this Panthers team. In all of my years of being a fan, I've never been so hooked. So I love this team and I love this roster, but I would love a win all that much more, and so I guess we'll get into that right now. If we win today, what does this mean for this roster? Well, I would hope that most of it gets brought back, and I would hope that they realize that this is a chance to grow and move into next season as a successful team, but this means so much for a young roster. A third-year quarterback, a second-year wide receiver in Xavier Legette, and Jalen Coker, a first-year wide receiver in Tedero McMillan. We got, of course, Jatavion Sanders, who's injured. He's not going to be playing this one. But, of course, Mitch Evans, who's now going to be leading the way. And I love Mitch Evans. I'm officially a Mitch Evans guy. We got so many young pieces, and that's what this means for this roster is, like, they're way ahead of the curve. I feel like a lot of Panthers fans get really negative about the little things on this team when they got to step back and realize that we are way ahead of schedule right now. Maybe other people are a lot more optimistic, but for me, I said that I don't care if we make the playoffs. I just want to win 9 games. Now we have to do both today, depending on, of course, the Falcons-Saints game tomorrow, so we're just going to hope that we don't have to worry about that at all. But, of course, 9 wins. That was my goal as a Panther fan, given what I watched before and given watching weeks 8 through 18 of last season. I genuinely thought this could be a 9-win team, and 8 wins right now. I'm high. I'm excited. I mean, I've never been more high on this team. It's going to be such an exciting game. And so that's what this means for this roster to me. They're ahead of schedule. They're so ahead of schedule that, yeah, we could lose this. It would be heartbreaking and it would suck. And of course, if then the Falcons lost tomorrow, it would suck extra because that means that New Orleans beat us twice and the Falcons for us to not make the playoffs. And either way, I want 9 wins. That's been my goal for the entire year. You could go back to some of the sports hours that I did back in August before the season started, and that is what I was asking for. I distinctly remember, if you go back and watch my prediction episode with Nolan that we had way back in early September, I said 9-8 for these Panthers. So it all comes down to this week. That's what it means to this roster, in my opinion. And for me as a fan, I've never been more excited to watch a game before, other than maybe week 1 of this season, that game against Jacksonville. I was so hyped to get football back, and now it is about to be gone, at least the regular season. That's crazy to me. And so I guess that asks the bigger question of what if we lose? What does it mean? For me, I'm of course a lot more optimistic. I'm a younger fan. I've only been around for this will be my 4th or 5th year, genuinely like being a diehard fan. Of course, wasn't really a big football guy before this. So for me, it's not the end of the world. But for older Panthers fans who's, since 2018, they've been in the doldrums. It's been bad. It means a lot to them. So if we lose, I definitely understand any Panthers fan that will go online and go, scorched earth on everything. I do not blame them at all, especially if we don't bring it today. That's the biggest thing. If we don't bring it, because every Panthers fan who at least, or football fan who has watched the Panthers really knows what this team is capable of when they are good. That Rams game, that Packers game, when we beat the Cowboys. I mean, this team can ball. And we are 1 win, 1 fourth quarter comeback against the Arizona Cardinals early this year from being in the playoffs right now. With that, we're games against the Saints, like I mentioned already. So many reasons why this team could be in the playoffs, and so many reasons why we can absolutely be kicking ourselves and be angry if we lose this game. That's definitely a justified way to feel. But for me, someone who's so excited about this team moving forward, especially next season should be everything this season was and more. If we don't, next season we're going to be a 10-win team, in my opinion. I think we're solidified now. Of course, it's all up to Dan Morgan and Dave Canales, what they do in the offseason, what they could come together, draft good, free agency signings need to be good. Of course, we're going to lose some pieces from this roster, and these guys are used to roster turnover. I remember seeing a tweet from, it might have been, I can't remember who it was from, actually. I will find it exactly, because it was one of those people on Panthers Twitter that, know their stuff. It was Taco Tweets talking about roster debt and how this Panthers team has had so much turnover. And I talked about it earlier, but this season, a lot of these players are getting to know each other. I mean, weeks 1 through 5, you could tell that this was a disjointed team. And has it really come together yet? That's my question. Have we, as Panthers fans, really seen this team come together and not look disjointed or inconsistent? And that's a big thing that comes to play calling, and that's something I notice every week. I'm a Bryce believer. I'm a Tetero McMillan believer. I love Jalen Coker. I don't quite believe in Xavier Legette, but he shows signs, and I think there are ways to, well, maybe not. We try to utilize him, but the biggest thing I notice is that every game, it feels like a different team I'm watching. And maybe for defenses, that's weird for them, but I've seen stats before, again, on Panthers Twitter, again, being in the Panthers chat especially, there's so many advanced stats that get thrown around. One of the biggest ones was a defensive tracker for teams that have a high volatility of different play calling versus how predictable it is. So how often their plays don't work versus how different they are. The Panthers were one of the highest volatility teams. We were in the top half, maybe top 10. I'm not sure exactly where we were on that chart, but we were in the higher percentage of predictability. So we're mixing it up. We're doing different things every game, and yet somehow defenses know what's coming. And it's the games where, we let loose a little bit when it actually goes well. Again, that game against the Rams, it's all I could think about. The 2 fourth down touchdowns. It's stuff like that where it's like, depends how this game goes and who we see. And Brad Isdick and Dave Canales, the OC, and of course, Dave has such a mountain in front of him to climb and figure out what he's going to do for this game, because I feel like the Buccaneers really are going to bring everything. Now, if I'm the Buccaneers, especially looking at the last games that the Panthers have lost and what happened in that game against Seattle, Seattle played world-class defense against us. They didn't let us get open for a second, and that was all man coverage. The Panthers have been zone beaters this year. Bryce Young and Tedero McMillan are so good at beating the zone and sitting in it. We even sometimes get guys like Tommy Tremble against the Falcons big receptions by beating zones. We get Mitch Evans. Most of the time, it's a zone beating throw. And then even when Jatavion Sanders was getting action, it was, again, zone beating throws. A lot of the time that we don't have guys that beat man coverage. Tedero McMillan's closest to it. Jalen Coker is also a great route runner, but in that game against Seattle, watching the All-22 when it's zoomed out, you watch Bryce go through all his progressions and then hit the check down. That's something that the Buccaneers are most likely than not going to be prioritizing in this game, is making sure that all of the options are limited. And do they have the talent to run a, man defense all game? Personally, I think they do still. This isn't quite the Super Bowl Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it's still a very good Buccaneers defense. Of course, that also is on the Panthers now to expect teams to do man coverage. If you don't learn from that Seattle game, then what are you doing as a coach? So we have to do more designs that are going to get players open in space and maybe more short routes, maybe more slants, more hooks, more things that don't take as much time to develop and can beat man coverage. That was the other issue, not just where our players not getting open. The O-line, it looked hurt. It looked tired. Bryce Young did not get a lot of time in the pocket, and I will admit, at the end of the game, got scramble happy. He could have sat in the pocket a little longer on some plays, but that's really getting nitpicky. But, with the playoffs on the line, that's kind of what you have to do. It's just, I love when Bryce scrambles. I'm a big fan of the mobile QB. I think he's at his best when he gets his legs going. But sometimes you got to be able to sit in the pocket for 3 seconds and let a route develop, and that's just not something we had against Seattle. And of course, the Buccaneers, I can't remember his name, but they're getting their all-pro defensive tackle back this week, and we're not getting Robert Hunt back. So that hurts. That's a huge missing piece, and we're going to need guys like Austin Corbett or whoever subs in, whether it's Brady Christensen, Kate Mays, whoever is playing. Of course, we're still going to have Damian Lewis, Ike Ekwonu, and Taylor Moton on the right side. But again, it's down the middle. It's probably going to be Cade Mays and Austin Corbett, and I don't know if Christensen draws in at all or however the O-line shakes out. Either way, I'm terrified. I am absolutely terrified at how long Bryce is going to have to operate. That's going to be my number one thing I'm watching, is just the pocket. How long that pocket stays secure, how long he has to operate, and if it collapses on him immediately, just like it was most of the game in Seattle. And then the defense. I will say, that game against Seattle, our defense was holding so strong. We had a chance to get in it. 17-10, I'm pretty sure the score was, on that 3rd and 21. J.C. Horn, unfortunate face mask. Hurt. That hurt. But our defense was so solid up till that point. And I gotta say, as an Evero hater going into the season, he's proved me wrong. He really has. He has been really good. He's drawn up great schemes with this defense, and there's been a few times that bend don't break mentality has hurt as a fan to watch, but most of the time it results in Bryce Young having the ball, giving our team a chance to win, and a lot of the time we do win. So sure, Evero, you're doing a pretty good job. Most of my frustration, funny enough, is on Brad Isdick and Dave Canales. Of course, Canales is calling the plays, but Isdick is our offensive coordinator, for any of the football fans out there that were unaware of that. So, this game today, will the defense step up again? Our defense, I hope so. Their defense, we'll see. I really think they should be prepped for a game like this, especially seeing as we've just faced each other a couple weeks ago. But our offense also should then be just as prepared. So there's so much going on here. What if we lose? We cheer for the Falcons, and I don't want to cheer for the Falcons. And for any football fans that have been looking at this and being confused, of course he doesn't want to cheer for the Falcons. He's a Panthers fan. If the Panthers lose today and the Falcons win tomorrow, we make the playoffs, and that would be a pretty nice consolation prize. Because I want to go 9-8, but if we go 8-9 to make the playoffs, that's pretty cool too. So I don't want to cheer for the Falcons. I want to just win today. Let's just beat the Bucks, get it over with. But if it has to come down to it, and then it comes down to it, we're cheering for the Falcons tomorrow, as I think we're going to win. I mean, I like patterns. The win-loss, win-loss, win-loss pattern we got going on right now is good. It lends itself really well to us Panther fans because, we're scheduled to win this one. But obviously that's on paper. Anything can happen in real life here. So will we win? I don't know. I'm going to predict a nice... Every score is so random for these Panther games. I'm going to predict Panthers win 26-21. Sure. No, we're going to go 24-21. Panthers win. That official 24-21 Panthers win. And if I'm wrong, throw tomatoes at me like it's a bad play because I'll feel awful. So knock on wood. We'll see how that goes. And it's going to be super exciting. My key players now to look at. Sorry, microphone. My key players now to look at. As we have our talking points out of the way, we'll now just kind of ramble about this game before it happens. So I got a lot of cool stuff to look at here. So Tetero McMillan, he is 71 yards away from 1,000 yards as a rookie, which would be incredible. Of course, he's facing off against Mike Evans, who is 600 plus yards away from extending his 1,000 yard streak. He probably will not be doing that, but you never know. I'm going to bet against it, though. So here's to see if, Tetero McMillan can become that next, Mike Evans potentially. That tall, consistent, receiver for whoever our quarterback is. But I love the Cali connection, so I'm going to hope that it continues to be Bryce Young and Tetero McMillan connecting there. So 71 yards for Tetero McMillan. We'll get him up to 1,000. I think the Panthers' game plan is going to be give Tetero McMillan the ball. I don't see why it wouldn't be give T-Mac the ball. So that's one thing to look at. Two things to look at is Rico Dowdle. 9 yards from scrimmage, I'm pretty sure, is one bonus. And if he gets a touchdown, it's an extra $1 million in his bank account, as his contract has incentives that will kick in after this game is finished if we are able to hit him. So to any of my betting folks out there, I mean, I dabble a little bit. I have a little bet on this game. And of course, if you're going to do so, please do so responsibly. Do a low amount and make sure that you play responsibly. If you have an issue, please hit up the gambling hotline, talk to someone. But if you are going to gamble, now that we have that out of the way, Rico Dowdle, touchdown anytime, that's $1 million in the bank account. He wants that. And, to throw on top of that, maybe give him like 30 yards. Either way, two things right there. I love Tetero McMillan to get 70 receiving yards. I think, the Panthers are going to prioritize getting him his stats. As stupid as that is, they're going to prioritize winning, but I'm going to have a little bit of fun here. And so I'm going to bet on him to get that 1,000. Of course, Bryce, you got to see him finish the season strong, and who knows from there, but those are two things that I would watch. The 70 yards for Tetero McMillan, touchdown for Rico Dowdle. So those are two things I'm watching. Other than that, if you're betting on this Panther game, I have no idea what to go with. I mean, I saw some of the lines for the rushing game. I don't mind going like a mixture of Chuba and Rico, but Bryce's throwing game, they have him projected to go for over 200 yards, and I love it. I would love a nice bounce back game, but betting, I mean, that terrifies me. I'll be real. If we're throwing money around like that, that's a scary thing to bet on. But hey, I love the Panthers as much as the next guy, so I have a good feeling here about Bryce Young, Panthers moving forward. I think that was really it, because Mike Jackson, he already got his contract incentives for getting the interceptions, and I also saw a stat today that he is top 10 in what is called havoc plays, which is plays that are disruptive, like interceptions, forced fumbles, pass breakups, QB hits, and most of the list was edge rushers who get to the quarterback and force a lot of fumbles, but right there, I think it was 7th, was Mike Jackson. So it's going to be exciting. And looking over at the comments there, we see Dave Collings 797 saying rainy day in Tampa Bay, so running might be key. So I like that. So hey, for all my betting folks, maybe hitting the under in the passing yards and going with Rico and Chuba. Again, I looked at it earlier. I do know for a fact that if you're doing Chuba Hubbard rushing yards, it only takes to about 30 to 40 yards until you're getting to the positive lines. And then with Rico, you got to get up into about the 50 range. But on a day like today, I think we might see a little throwback for the Panthers where they pound the ball, where we get those huge games. I don't think we're going to get a 200 rushing yard from Rico Dowdle game, but I think combined our running backs will go for bare minimum 100, maybe even more. I love that, and I love the update from our weatherman in the chat. Shout out Dave Collings there. So rainy day in Tampa Bay, that's going to be a huge factor in this game. So we'll have that to look out for, as again, that changes everything. We don't have any fantasy to talk about unless anyone's in leagues that go super late, but that will affect any Tedero McMillan plays. Of course, he's one of those guys that could have brought you to a championship, a great late season run for him. So anything's possible here, but a rainy day, yeah, let's go Chuba Hubbard. Let's go Rico Dowdle. Love to see it, and we'll see what they got moving forward here. Of course, if we do win this game and make the playoffs, we're almost locked in to face one of Seattle or San Francisco. And that's kind of scary. I mean, Seattle, my dad, he says that he would rather see Seattle. He doesn't trust Sam Darnold at all, and hey, I don't blame him. I really liked that game we faced against San Francisco. I thought we were right in it with them as well. The score ended up 20-9 against San Fran versus the 27-10 loss to Seattle, but both games we were in it regardless of what the final score ended up being. So anything's possible in this rainy game, and I feel like I've now said that 3 times, so we're going to stop quoting Kevin Garnett here. I can't wait for this game. I'm utterly terrified. Super excited, but completely terrified. Again, if you missed the start of the stream and you're like, I'm a Panthers mega fan now officially, but this has only been since 2021. I've, not been around as long as others as, a Canadian football fan. Not on that, lifelong football loving fandom. So this has been a recent thing for me, but this has been the best. Panthers have the best community on Twitter. I can tell you that for a fact. And the most entertaining games. And then we also see it in the chat there. Let's go Panthers. I need the 9 wins. As of course, I know about the bet there from Dave Collings. The odds were too good not to go for the 9 wins. And I told you they'd get close. We'll see. So that just about wraps it up here. It's 4:09, about to flip over to 4:10. And that means that the game is 20 minutes away. So get ready for it. Get comfortable. Get your couch. Get your love seat. Get your pull-up chair, get your pull-out chair, anything you have, the most comfortable thing you have, go sit on it, get a drink, get a snack, and let's sweat this game out together, Panther Nation. Keep pounding, and we'll see you the next time I go live. So make sure that you subscribe here to the Calling Stone Network. Make sure you like this stream, and make sure you tune into the next one. Tomorrow, we'll be doing a Panthers recap, reaction, maybe freak out, maybe celebration. But regardless, it'll be right here on the Calling Stone Network. So make sure you subscribe, ring that bell for all notifications,